shift the way you lead, the way you live. Clarity, courage, change. Because your next level won't wait. This is Monday Mindshift, the clarity you've been craving, the shift you didn't know you needed. Hello, everyone. I'm Sean Michael, and welcome to this week's Monday Mindshift. I don't know how many people will actually be here today, but whether you're watching live or on team replay, I appreciate you and grateful to have you join me for these weekly meetings. Oh, it looks like I've got two. Be sure to comment, even just a hi. Tell me where you're watching from, anything like that, so I know for sure you're here, because the connection between the streaming provider and LinkedIn, and it doesn't always work. It looks like I do have maybe some Amalia's here. Welcome, Amalia. Anyways, so by commenting and letting me know you're here, then I know what's going on. And you can ask questions, make comments. I'd love to see the engagement. And I really appreciate it. All right. So today's topic, you're not behind. You're in the middle of the story. Now, many of us as high achievers, and when I say high achievers, I mean, like, I want to distinguish high achiever from high performer. High achievers are those of us that we kind of go. We're always involving ourselves in a lot of projects. We're trying to be the best at the things we do. We rarely take the time to just breathe, right? It's almost like, if you've paid attention to the other events, you know that a lot of the topics I'm covering are worth, like, we doubt ourselves. We think, oh, I need to do this to prove that I matter, that I'm worthwhile, that I have value. And that's what I'm trying to break, is that our value, our worth, none of that has anything to do with anything we are. We were born with it. I've mentioned it before. When we're a small baby, there's a small baby. Everybody loves that baby. But what did the baby do? Nothing. So my question is, what changed? Right? As a baby, we didn't have to do anything to get love, acceptance, and care. But as we get older, we start to develop these ideas that, I have to do something. I have to prove something to be accepted, to be cared for, to have value. So my big question, how many of you have ever whispered to yourself, I should be further along by now? I want you to notice how familiar that might feel. Does it feel heavy? And today, I promise you, we're going to expose this lie of being behind. We're going to look at why the middle feels so uncomfortable. And we'll practice tools so that we can anchor into presence instead of panic. And I know many of us have been in that panic mode. And I want to rebring a quote, because it's a powerful quote, and it fits so much. Remember, Joseph Campbell said, "The cave you fear to enter holds the treasure that you seek." So this illusion of being behind, there's three measurements that they're false. They're lies. They're not true. The first is the comparison trap, or what I often call comparisonitis. We measure our timeline, where we're at on our timeline, based on somebody else's highlight reel. Maybe you've been scrolling on LinkedIn or another social media platform, and you see everybody announcing new launches or their new promotion, and you're feeling late, but it's a race you never even signed up for. The next one, we'll call it timeline tyranny. We have this false belief that there's a schedule, like you should hit these time. And this starts young. I've seen it as a father of a young child. Oh, your son is 5 and he's doing what? Oh, my child isn't doing that. We have this misguided belief that there's a timeline, like we should be doing this by this age and this by that age. Maybe, you have this belief like, oh, I'm supposed to be married by the time I'm 30, and I'm supposed to be financially secure by 40, and know my purpose by 50. But who gave you the calendar? Is it your calendar? Did culture give it to it? Did society give you it? Was it your family? Was it fear? And the third measurement that gets us in trouble is outcome obsession. We only look at the finish line, the achieved goal, right? We've kind of skip over all the formation, the growth, the journey. Think of it this way. Somebody who's going to the gym, they're looking for that before and after photo, right? Oh, this is what I look like before, and look at me now. But we kind of skip all the reps in the middle and the things that we learned in the process. So here's a symptom check. You feel shame when others seem ahead. You find yourself, good morning, Meryl, and thank you for joining. I'm so excited to see you here. I thought about sending you a message, but I wasn't sure. But our second symptom, so first symptom was feeling shame because others seem further ahead in their life, like they've already got it. The second is this chronic urgency, always rushing to the next thing or to this and that. Or that internal loop that plays. I should be further along. I should not be where I'm at. I should be 10 steps forward or 20 steps forward or whatever. Behind, it's not a real place. It doesn't exist. It's just a story we tell ourselves in our mind when we compare our timeline to someone else's, who it was never meant to match. There are 8 billion people on this earth, and we all have our own timeline. So one thing I've learned is a focus on my own timeline and let go of everybody else's timeline. And this hit me hard, okay, when I was preparing for this, because I started on my coaching journey almost 8 years ago. Today, I see people online that I was connected with, that I knew about, who were just starting out when I was starting out. And I see, as we said, the highlight reels that they've shared, right? They're speaking at this event, or they're launching this program, or whatever. It doesn't matter. It's all their timeline, not mine. But it hurts a little bit, doesn't it? You go, oh, if I hadn't put it all on pause because life changed, I could have been there. But I've learned to reframe it and go, okay, that was their timeline. It's not mine. My life played out differently. I have a beautiful son who's amazing and who makes me very, very proud. And I'm very honored to be a father. That's partly why I put it all on hold. And now it's the motivation to make this work, to grow. And besides my purpose and my impact of helping other people shift and let go of the trash. Anne Lamott, I love her quote. Almost everything works again if you just unplug it for a few minutes. That includes you. That includes me. I'm on a comeback on the podcast on Daily Power Boost. I had 13 days. This is a podcast that I posted nearly every day since November 1st, 2024. "13 days, no episodes posted." I had two options. I could beat myself up, shame myself, like, oh my gosh, you failed, blah, blah, blah. Or I could just pick it back up and continue on my timeline. Because during those 13 days, I got a chance to slow down, to look at my life, what I'm doing, where I want to go, where I want to be, focus on the journey, spend more time with my wife and my son, do some things that I needed to do. So was it a failure? Nah. So, as you've noticed on my events, I've been doing these origin stories, right? To help us figure out, where did this idea come from? So the origin story, my question to start is, who told you you're late? If you can, close your eyes and think back to that first time you felt late or behind. Was it comparison with your siblings? Was it a teacher saying, why can't you keep up? Was it a career benchmark you didn't hit? Whose clock were you running against? You want to take this even further? In your journaling time, write this question out. The first time I felt behind was, and write it out. The voice telling me to hurry belongs to, and put that name in there. What younger me actually needed. This is where the magic is. Here, you're older and wiser. What is it? What is the tool? What is the knowledge? What is the resource that you have today that if you could go back and tell that version of yourself, hey, don't worry about it. It's okay. Here's how it's going to work out. Write that down. What could you have brought to younger you? What did that younger version of yourself actually need? Remember, you're not late. You're not behind. You're on your timeline. Their timeline, it's not yours to follow. We shared this, I think, last week. James Baldwin. Not everything that is faced can be changed, but nothing can be changed until it's faced. And that's the point of this exercise is we can't change it until we face it. So this idea of being behind, that I should be at X position, we have to face it. Where did that come from? All right. Science time. If you ever watched Bill Nye the Science Guy, I used to watch him. It was pretty cool. So our little science bit, psychology. Carol Dweck, when she did her growth mindset research, she found that the middle has mistakes and friction and frustration, but it's where the neural or brain rewiring happens. Without the middle, there's no change, there's no transformation. You can't jump from here to there. You have to go through the middle. Zarar, hola. The cousin's 3-year-old unlocked your phone. Yeah, that's a funny one, Zarar. Joseph Campbell in his hero's journey, classic story. The ordeal step of his journey, we could also call the messy middle. It's always where the hero transforms. It's going to be where you transform the most. The beginning sets the stage. The end, if you've read this hero's journey, is actually coming back to the beginning. It's a return to the start. The middle is where it all really happens. And in polyvagal theory, we can say the discomfort that comes in the middle, it's kind of like when you go to the gym and you start working out and you come home and your muscles hurt, right? They're sore. You're sore after a workout. If you've stretched new things or worked muscles you haven't worked in a long time, it's going to hurt. The messiness of your middle, that's just your brain, your system, it's stretching. You went and stretched it a little bit, so it hurts. It's about expanding your capacity. It's not weakness. This middle part feels so uncomfortable because this is where your core identity is being rewritten. It's not just your circumstances. Like who you see yourself to be is being changed here. Now I have a quote from Rumi, and I love Rumi. Rumi's wisdom is so powerful. If you haven't read Rumi, I definitely recommend checking out some of his writings because they're deep, deep message. Kind of reminds me, like Ashif is Zarar too. You guys both share like modern day Rumis. You share quotes and things that are really powerful. But Rumi said, try not to resist the changes that come your way. Instead, let life live through you. Right? I was reading this morning, if the water is rippled because something disturbed it, do you try to smooth the water out? No, because what happens? That will bring more ripples. But how do you let the water go smooth again? Just leave it alone. Let it do its thing. Right? It's the same with you and me. We don't get the water smooth by trying to smooth it out. We just have to kind of release it and let it settle, right? All right. Our practice number 1. Okay, Zarar, you're going to have to explain this Shams Tabri. Oh, that's Rumi's teacher. Got it. Figured it out. So practice 1. And I'd love to hear feedback. Today I decided to go no slides. The last couple weeks I've done slides since I'm running solo. Today I wanted to try to be more engaged. I actually was in a presentation. They said, slides lets audience tune out. But, I'm more about you're watching, live, replay, doesn't matter. Slides or no slides? What say you? Anyway, our first practice. Get out a sheet of paper or your digital tool of choice. Create 3 columns. Label the first column beginning, the second column middle, the third column arrival. Under middle, I want you to write 3 messy realities you're currently facing. Under arrival, write the qualities those struggles are secretly building in you. Maybe resilience, empathy, patience, strength. Because what often feels like chaos is actually construction. The middle is where the foundations are poured. If you're willing to share, if you can think of maybe one of your messy realities you're facing and you're willing to share it, I'd love to hear from you. We can evaluate it live on air. If not, that's okay too. I want you to imagine you're a baker and you're making bread. You take it out of the oven at half the time. It looks beautiful outside. It's nice and brown and golden. But as soon as you touch it and collapse it, you find out it's still raw in the middle. So my question is, and thank you, Meryl, for that, where in your life have you been tempted to pull yourself out of the oven too soon? Because the reality is, you have your timeline. Maybe your bread, maybe your cake, maybe your cookies. The goal is you want to stay in the oven the right amount of time. If you're pulled out too early, you're not finished. Your insides are still gooey and not edible. That just was weird. But practice number 2. Timeline. Let's reframe the timeline, right? There's no universal timeline. My timeline is not Meryl's timeline. It is not Zarar's timeline. It's not Amalia's timeline. It's not Rumi's timeline or anybody else's. My timeline is my timeline. But when you get a chance, write out one area where you feel behind. And just write that out. I am behind. Finish the sentence. Right? I could say, I am behind on working with clients. I am behind on growing my business. Then I just rewrite the sentence. I am not behind. I'm in the middle of becoming a powerful coach. Is mine. Right? Your sentence. I'm not behind. I'm going to put this in the chat so everybody gets it. Right? Write down somewhere where you feel behind. Reframe it using this structure. I am not behind. I am in the middle of becoming. And I want you to notice in your body, in your soul, your deepest parts, any relief you feel when you let go of this performance and you just are there in your present, your process. Right. But that's a good point, Zerar. Were you behind? Or are you just proofing? My wife bakes bread, and good bread, especially like sourdough starter or bread, the one made with natural, because when you make breads that use a leavener, you often add the leavener and you wait a certain amount of time for it to inflate and do its magic. But I once made a sourdough starter. The starter was doing great. But when you decide to make bread from a natural leavener like that, like the packaged yeast takes hours and your bread puffs up. Natural yeast, it's much, much slower. And I liken this to our own development, right? our development is like natural yeast. It takes time to get it to develop. And with bread, it's not just inflating, it's changing the flavor. If you've ever been to California, San Francisco Bay Area, where I grew up, it's well known for something called sourdough bread. I love this stuff because there's nothing like it in the world. But it's made from a natural starter, not a commercial leavener. Okay. Don't surrender all your joy for an idea you used to have about yourself that isn't true anymore. This comes from Cheryl Strayed. Part of what I've learned in identity growth is we have to let go of the old person we thought we were. Grieve. Often we have to grieve that person, just like losing a loved one. There's a grieving process. But if we don't do that, we can't move to the next step. We have to process through it and move on. All right. Practice 3. If you've been following along for a while, you know about the 2-chair dialogue. Today's 2 chairs, the first chair, the blue chair, is the critic, your inner critic, right? The orange chair, or amber chair, is your inner guide. The critic chair says, "You're behind, everyone's passing you. You'll never catch up." The inner guide says, "I hear you. I'm not behind. I'm in the middle of the story. And the middle is where I become," we can use that statement we created before, right? In the middle, I become a powerful leader, a powerful coach. And again, our goal is not to silence the critic. We acknowledge the critic. Like, look, I know you're trying to protect me. You're doing something that you feel is necessary to protect me. And I hear you. But I'm acknowledging that I'm not behind. I'm right where I'm supposed to be. I'm in the middle where all the magic is happening. I'm proofing, as we use the bread metaphor. We acknowledge it, that critic. We remind the critic that we're not in that race. We're in this race, my race. All right. Once again, I had this planned out. I've gotten through it very quickly. I tend to do that. Still refining this, but it's my race. To wrap us up, I have a simple prompt. The truest sentence I can say about my middle right now is, once again, I'll put this in the chat. The truest sentence I can say about my middle is this. This is for you. Write it down on your journal. Fill it in. And then I have a 7-day experiment for you. Each day this week, write out a single line below that. So write that on a page. The truest sentence I can say about my middle right now is, and each day through the week, write a single line. The middle is teaching me, and write what it's teaching you. The middle is teaching me I don't have to rush. The middle is teaching me that family is my top priority. Because as my son grows up, if I miss a moment, that's not coming back. It's gone. I love it, Zerar. I'm going to put that on the screen. That's a great quote. Don't measure your journey by footsteps. Measure it by the fire in your chest. Told you guys Rumi was good. And this is Rumi's teacher, so even better. My final quote comes from Ralph Waldo Emerson. We've had it before. To be yourself in a world that is constantly trying to make you something else is the greatest accomplishment. Remember this: you're not behind, you're not broken, you're not late, you're right on time for your story that is still unfolding. Now, I give the same invitation. If you've been rushing, comparing, shaming yourself for not being further, DM me. We'll book a call. We'll talk about where you're at. We'll map out where you are in your story. I call these identity clarity calls. No cost. They're valued at much more than the money you'll have to spend. Imagine it this way: I'm not giving free calls. These are $500 calls, but I'm giving you a check for $500. So it's no cost out of your pocket. I want you to treat it like that. All you have to do is DM me. You can send a simple DM, middle, or comment on the chat, middle. Remember, behind is a myth. Becoming takes time. The middle, it's sacred ground. Don't rush through it. The middle, I like that, Zerar. All right. So we're half past. My teaching is finished, and I don't want to sit here and try to fill space. So I'm going to go ahead and open it up. If anybody wants to come on stage, join the chat. Love to have you have a conversation. We have about 27 minutes before we wrap up, or less. If we finish earlier, we finish earlier. I will definitely take Meryl's comment into consideration that slides help. If you're watching the replay, let me know. Which do you prefer? Slides? No slides. It's not a big deal. I don't mind creating them. I actually have a lot of fun creating them. And I personally find them very useful, but I'm not in the audience. I want to give you guys and gals that are watching, what you're looking for. How can I help you best? My goal is impact above and beyond everything else. If I can shift your life path positively, even a small percent, I did what I wanted to do. All right. I bet I know who that is too. Oh, wait, what happened? There he is. Good day, Zerar. I'm not hearing you, sir.
Bonanis. Well, it's
Good evening, yes, for you?
Good evening. Good evening.
Actually, I think it's quite late at night,
Yeah, 10 o'clock. 10 in the night.
and I don't recall Zarar. Where are you joining from?
I'm from Lahore,
Lahore, India,
Pakistan.
or Pakistan?
India,
Okay.
Pakistan. You hear me now?
Yep, I hear you.
Maybe the internet connection, I think.
Could be, and it could be partially my connection because I live in Guatemala, and sometimes the connection is not so great.
What, do you hear me better now?
I'm here. I hear you. Yeah, I hear you now, Zarar.
No, one, I'm a big fan of many personalities, and one of them is, uh, of course, let's let's remove the prophets, no,
Hmm.
prophetic ones, but let's come to this word, the ones I follow, right?
The modern voices will say.
Yeah, the ones I see every day. Sean, we love you. Okay. The way the way you connect people at the people level, and I love Rumi. Love so many people who, and my middle is something, because of living for 2 decades away from your hometowns, your people, your relatives, that way, a place where you were born, your language. So when you now with over 2 decades, you were away. When you come back, you find yourself. So I was in that. My middle was that. Then it was all about finding my spirituality, my now. So, and Lahore reminds me about that.
And I'm curious, Zarar, was this? I feel like perhaps this was finding your way back to that spirituality.
You got it. Like you said earlier, okay, you start the journey and then you get back. And that middle was somewhere I was in some other province with some other people, mindset, garment, culture, but then recovering. That was the part for last 1 year. That was the middle.
Yeah.
It was not possible if I would have not been here. Like if I was there, so I thank God for being where I was born, to, that He made those circumstances, uh, and that happened. And I believe it was because He wished it that way, and we surrendered it this way
Hmm.
to be on where He wishes. And uh, Lahore is the, if you're going to see on the map, you're going to find that it's the heart of Pakistan and the capital of Punjab, with over 22 million people, and and the Mughal emperors and empresses, they ruled. That was the ruling of Lahore, was the
Hmm.
architecture where you find these buildings, and very spiritual history. You know, I was reading Rumi, and he said, to understand the love of this, the, the love of the sea of the love, you have to get those intellect drawn in it. So Lahore reminds me everything about purity, transparency, and truth. It connects me to my own self deeper inside.
It's powerful because I can say I have a similar experience. I left my homeland, the United States, and I've been out of the country just over a decade, which I've had to make a lot of adjustments. And actually, I was away from the country for 4 years before I came back. And I remember the first time I went back after being gone 4 years, I call it reverse culture shock, right? Because you've gotten so used to, like, when you left and you came to a new place, there's a culture shock. And then when you go back home, you don't remember it so much because you've been immersed in this other situation. So it feels strange going back. And as you said, there's an adjustment period.
Alignment uh, with my own soul that was missing in my life. That alignment,
Yes.
and that's when when you get back to those places where you're born, then that's when you,
Well, and
for in my case,
yeah, as you were saying, Zarar, I think I'm a firm believer that people, places, and things that come into our life, they're there for a reason or a season.
woo, strong one.
And so as you were mentioning about divine plans, divine purpose, there's a reason we were sent far away.
Uh,
There was something we needed to learn, perhaps. And my question to you, Zarar, the level that you're experiencing of your spirituality, as you said, do you think it would be the same if you hadn't left?
Not possible. It was not possible. Migration is very uh, important in life. Change, because you may have those traumas that were living with you for years, and if you're not going to migrate, then if you're not going to move from one place to another place to leave them behind.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not just talking about traumas, but the city gave me everything, my own ID. That city where I was, it was beautiful city. But then over time, you're getting, you're growing up, you're growing, you're going ahead step by step, step by step. You lose people over time, you lose friends over time, and many memories they get attached to that city over time.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why the Darweshis, like, they keep on moving. They never stayed at one place. The Darwish, right? I'm sure you're married with children, and Alhamdulillah, you have like barakah. May Allah grace you, your every and wave, and sending you waves of health from this part to that part to your part, for you, your family, and your loved ones. When you move, when you migrate, it connects you with with more new people. Although they will, I'll say them new people. Why? I was born there, but staying away for over two. They say, "Are you a player?" I'm not a player for this city.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a player because I was born here. So now playing a guitar here doesn't make sense to me. I just have to pray because I was born here,
Yeah.
just to find my own self.
Well, and my own experience, I liken it to this. They have, I, I don't know other parts of the world, but in the US and here in Guatemala, they have these little different things you can put in your room. Some plug in the wall, some sit on a table to smell nice, right? You can have lavender or pine or whatever scents people like. When you first put it in, you're like, oh, it smells so nice. But after time, is this thing working? Like, I don't even know if it's working. But if you take it out and put a different smell in, like you said, or, if you're in this environment and you never leave there, you don't notice things until you're moved somewhere else into a different environment, and you appreciate certain things of the original environment. You realize maybe some things that could change and be better. But in the middle of it, it's kind of like the boiled frog syndrome, right? If you drop a frog in boiling hot water, he's going to jump out. But if you change the temperature little by little, he doesn't know what's going on. And if you're just always in the same place, you won't notice. You stop noticing. My wife had it. She came from Michigan to California, and she adapted to California, and we went back to Michigan. And she was shocked. She's like, is this really my homeland? Like, I don't remember people being like this. I don't remember it being like this. Something changed, she said. I said, no, it probably was there the whole time. You just never noticed.
Like, why don't we realize it? Because you have been acha. That's why traveling is very important. Like, some people are lifelong learners. Some people are lifelong travelers. Okay, so we and some people are lifelong wanderers. So there's a difference of what I found out a little with my knowledge,
Mm-hmm.
that I was a lifelong learner, and even up till now, I keep on learning because I know it's a very fast-paced era with the Gen Zs studying there in the universities, and it's like, ooh, because 60% of the population is under the age of between 18 and 24
Right. Like
in
you said, that
Pakistan.
Gen Z
Two,
zone.
250 million, out of which 60% of the population is 18 to 24, and 60 universities here in Lahore.
Mm-hmm.
And now US is opening another university and its campus by the fall of 2025 here. So um, and, and I see that uh, 20 million children, they are still not going to school. Okay, that's one of the where still some academicians, they are trying to cover up that gap. Now at least they have some stats. Okay, so they know like 20 going. Thank God they know it. So they didn't have skill incubators, incubation centers in the universities. So now the government is had made a national incubation centers. My point is, these Gen Zs, they 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 uh, you know, their biggest market is the U.S. market. Okay, where they
Mm-hmm.
work for contact centers and they call all night. But many of them, they're still missing leadership uh, qualities. Okay, that's because they're stuck in one. They don't have those. They studied in the university. They went to the university. I found a gap. I was doing this research that they went to the university just to get the degree,
Mm-hmm.
and the problem was, for 4 years to get that degree, when they could learn every year two new skills. So in the next 4 years, they would have learned eight new skills, and they missed it. And then every year, like I remember when I look back, I remember when I was young, we were told to study, along with that, do a part time job. So I was doing a part time job and studying both ways. This next, the Gen Zs, they are missing out on this. So I was talking with some national youth leadership program that is held by Islamabad, the capital here, and today in the morning, and they need some trainers, Sean, and some trainers who can train these youth, which is in bulk, bulk, and
Right. A large
then
portion.
I had at once Sean in my mind, Leslie in my mind, and Stanley Green, Curtis Brooks, and everybody, because I built very strong relationships with them for over years now. So at once, and then they said, "Do you know any?" And then they offered me a position, a title. I was like, "What?" I said, "Tell me the title that you want to, because here giving titles is like nothing. It's like you say me, and I'll tomorrow I'm going to make you director of global community building, like that." So,
Hmm.
but the point is, I said, success cannot be measured through ranks and positions. It's just an obstacles which one has overcome. So let me talk with Sean. Let me talk with Curtis. Let me talk with my friends overseas. Let me see what we can do for this youth, for these youngsters. And because I saw 50 people online in a small Google Meet,
Hmm.
and they all were like listening, where some army officers with four-star generals and everybody were in panelists, and they were no one, there was not a proper man who can ask them the right question. And I was like witnessing the host, who she was barely 24 years old. So we need, like, some. I learned a lot from you, Sean. Let me tell you something. I have learned a lot from Leslie Flowers. I've learned a lot from Stanley Green, Curtis, and that's how today I'm sitting in front of you, talking to you, like having those deep conversations.
Yes. Well, and you highlight something really important, and I've talked about this on my podcast. Gen Z is breaking the mold. They aren't they the old leadership playbook. They're like, "Pfft, whatever." Like the hierarchies and the titles, they will quit whatever they're on if there's no purpose, right? They don't they're not following the same playbook. We've got to update the playbook, the leadership playbook, the education playbook, or we're going to lose the following generations because they don't operate like I'm Gen X. And I remember when millennials came around, we're like, oh God, these millennials, like what? And then Gen Z came and it's like, oh wow. Because they're Gen Z was the first truly digital natives, right? They look at life differently. And as leaders, as a Gen X leader, I have to I can't just go, oh well, this is the way we did it when I was a leader and when I went to university. No, I gotta change it. Because otherwise they're gonna tune out. They're not gonna care. I've got to speak differently. And that doesn't mean I don't mean like adopting their lingo. I'm raising Gen Alpha and he's using words like sus and I can't even remember all the words he uses. I'm having to get a new dictionary because he's using words and I'm like, what? What is that? But it's not reaching younger generations, the youth, the future leaders.
Actually, you know what? They nationalism. and and the way we used to be when we were like I was Gen Z, so we have that nationalism and
Hmm.
curiosity for leaving our parents and going out of our comfort zone. Like 18 to 28, I was doing lots of jobs. I mean, and modeling, acting, and working with different high top-notch Pakistan's creators as model. So I was always like, as a wanderer, I was like crazy to do something. And but that and then now what happens, these Gen Zs, they sense the culture of the company so
Hmm.
quick that they make decisions. Okay, it's easy to point out the Gen Zs that they are wrong, like that. You are wrong. But companies here, they are not looking into their cultures. Okay, the Gen Z sensed their culture that is no fit, and that's why they shift the job. So this chaos of hiring and people are being hired, and this has been now controlled through AI recruiting. It's like piece of cake here
Hmm.
because of those big, huge contact centers that are being operated in the night, and where these Gen Zs who have done their O levels or A levels, they sit there and talk for hours selling products.
Yeah, it's and as you said, Zarar, life, the world, business, it's all changing faster and faster. And generative AI is accelerating it, I think. And we have to adapt. This is our messy middle. So we have to adapt so that we can.
You know, we have no other options to to keep up the trends. You have to be a lifelong learner. You cannot. I mean, I leverage this platform, LinkedIn Learning, for the last 3 years. I found my learning pathways. Like, why do I have to go for some sessions driving my motorbike or car 20 kilometers just to attend a session
Mhm.
to get a new certificate when I have LinkedIn Learning, which I can leverage to get a new certificate, where 5,000 instructors have already crafted amazing certificates that you just have to watch the videos and get your new certificate. Watch the video and add it in your skills.
Right.
So we still there are still many things that are still missing, and people they still need to understand how this LinkedIn and LinkedIn Learning, both platforms, are working. And there is a huge bulk of people and children and professionals and businesses who are still sleeping here. And now many mentors and coaches and instructors, they didn't even know that LinkedIn audio events, they existed. I mean, they they still don't know how to be live
Right. Well,
through
out of the millions, I was just talking about this on another event. Out of the millions of people on LinkedIn, they say about 1% are actually creating something.
yeah.
The
Oof, 1%.
Yeah, 1 or 2% are creating, the other percent are consuming or still looking at LinkedIn
What
like a job board.
in the morning he was saying me the same thing. The NYLP founder, he was saying, "Okay, do you have any way? Can you tell me how to go live on uh, LinkedIn Live?" And I was like, "Yeah, yeah, I can tell you. No worries." And he had like 10,000 followers on his page. and he was asking me these questions. And I said, yeah, yeah, you will get to know how to go live. Don't worry. But the point is, LinkedIn Live is something that you have to connect with the global audience. So you need to have those hosts and panelists who can talk in universal language, English, at least English. Yeah, come on. So they need more people who can host for them. Speakers and
Right. Well,
leaders.
and I look at it because I talk to people every day through English coaching
Yeah,
around the
universal.
world. And, you know, as knowledgeable as I am, and I have access to a lot more knowledge than I did 20 years ago, I don't know what life is like in Lahore. I only know what I can read on a page. Having somebody like you, right? You're there, you're boots on the ground, right?
Super.
Or talking to students, I talk to people in Japan, Korea, Saudi Arabia, Kuwait, Iran, Kurds up in the mountains of at the border of Turkey and Iraq. It's opened my world so much. That's my travel today. I don't have the I love traveling. When I was young, I traveled all around the Pacific, and it changed my world.
What about Asia? Did you
Throughout Asia, yeah,
landed in Asia?
Japan, Philippines, Korea, Thailand, Hong Kong, visited
Middle East?
Mombasa, Kenya, Emirates, Bahrain, Oman.
What about Southeast? No? Where in
No, didn't
Southeast?
make it to Southeast. Yeah, I didn't make it over to your region, but
Oh,
I
you
would
know,
like to.
you know what? Sean, you did traveled everywhere, but 680 million people speak Hindi in India,
Oh yeah.
and 200 and 300 million people speak Urdu, and the population makes half of the Asia population is there. Of the population of around the world, so half is this India and Pakistan.
Well, it's interesting you bring that up too, Zarar, because I
And
just saw
China.
a graphic. I just saw a graphic of the whole world, and they color coded. So like they did color for India and Pakistan to
Yes.
show all the population of just those two.
Yeah.
And it took all of North and South America
Yes.
and some other parts. Like it was trying to show you like India and Pakistan is like a huge percentage of the global population, like to
Yes.
really
Even the
bring it
economy.
home.
Even the
Yeah.
economy. India is on number one now
Yeah, I
because
wish
of
I had I wish I had saved that graphic because it was
intense.
eye-opening.
Yeah, I agree. And China is number one language, English. Second, Chinese. Oh, what do you call that? Madri, no, something like that. Because of the population of.
Mandarin. Yeah.
Yeah. Third,
Well, and I've talked about this before with my English clients trying to work on their English. It depends on if we look at native speakers, it's one order. If you look at all the people who speak it,
yeah,
because I think English falls at number 4, number 5 by
number
native
one,
speakers.
number one, number one,
But when
number
you
one.
go all the people who speak it, it goes up to number 1.
You know why? Because Pakistan and India both, their two official languages are for India is Hindi and English, and for Pakistan it's Urdu and English. So they are the official languages. So try to get my point. So English is number one, right? Because it's universally like, and second is Chinese, right? Because Mandarin, I don't know. They
Right.
because
Well,
of
yeah, they say in natives it's Mandarin, Spanish, English, Hindi.
Spanish, 580 million people.
Something like that, yeah. But by all speakers, even first and second language, English jumps up to the top.
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
And I
I'm telling you, you know
think
why? Because you know why?
I think
Sean,
it
did you?
goes, yeah, when you go by by all speakers, native and second language,
No.
it goes English, Mandarin, Hindi,
Yes, and
top
then
3,
Spanish, and then
and
Spanish.
then Spanish. Yeah.
I'm not watching anything, but it's my research which I have done already, and now I'm like sitting in the. I've done my middle part.
But you're
Now I'm
right.
enjoying.
I spoke with, you're not the first Urdu like I was working with a gentleman, an IT professional in Southeast India. I
Okay,
can't remember.
that's towards the
It's one of the southeastern parts of India where it's got a very high Muslim population.
high, maybe towards the Bengal side, maybe the Bengal border,
Yeah,
Bangladesh,
yeah,
and
but it was like it it wasn't. It was like it's been so
South,
long since I talked to him.
Southeast India.
But I
Let me check.
remember it's Southeast India.
Uh, it's mostly Southeast India.
I might be saying it wrong.
It's Chennai, Andhra Pradesh, Andhra
Andhra
Pradesh,
Pradesh. Andhra
and Kerala,
Pradesh, that
Nadu.
was it. Yeah, it was Andhra Pradesh,
Yeah. Okay. Yeah,
if I remember
that's
right.
the part. That's the part which comes closer to Sri Lanka. Sri
Yeah, but
Lanka.
so that was my first connection with Urdu, and I was actually learning a little bit of, yeah, Hyderabad, Andhra Pradesh. Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah, I was right. It is Southeast Asia or India, right?
I wrote a post today in the morning. It was in the morning, and I post like every day with my one picture and with something because I read books and then I have time like after 12 o'clock in the night from 12 to 3. That's when I really love to write. So I wrote something last morning, early morning, and I was going through a book named Najul Balaga. It's a very spiritual book about the oneness of divine. I haven't seen any book so strong that can, the way the commander of faithful has like discussed about the oneness of him. And then it brought me so many questions in my mind. Like, doubts are part of us. And if we say, as far as we are alive, there should be doubts so that we can research and find everything.
Right.
Then,
Well, yeah, doubts doubts is like step 1. Step 2 is something that I've been reading a really powerful book lately. It's called A More Beautiful Question.
oh yeah,
And the whole work is about questions and how questions unlock so much. And one powerful one that came up today in my reading, how might we? Is your
how?
question is how might we?
We.
So let me go back to your situation where you were sharing about reaching the youth, especially in your region. How might we teach the youth to be better leaders in the future? It's the spark, right? We start with that question and we can build from there. Not how could we, not how should we, but how might we?
You're right.
Because it shifts the perspective a lot. And hello, Christy, welcome.
You're right. How might we can help this youth to to get the results which nation is waiting, right? Because most of them, they are inherited mindsets. Mama ne ye kaha tha, Papa ne ye kaha tha, Papa said me to do this, Papa told me to do that, because of that cultural nuances and the way patriarchal and patrilineal system. So I think it's time to because, like, if I look at myself as an entrepreneur, for example, then then you know, even if we are broke, we know how to do boot camps. We don't feel ourselves to be broke at any moment of our life. I mean, we keep on pushing, not pushing, but we keep on guiding because we know how to get out of it. But because they are Gen Zs and they are very young and they are very innovative and creative and they're very fast, quick.
Mm-hmm.
And but at some time, beta, acha, thank you. But at some time, there is a time when they break because when they look back, they don't have any corporate ladder, no jobs experiences, just a scripted mindset.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's where my if I have to show up more and more in these exhibitions which are going around universities. I have to go there. Yesterday there was entrepreneurial festival here in Lahore where top entrepreneurs of Pakistan they showed up. The the ministries they showed up and top TV channels and everybody. It was like chaos. The exhibition was full. I was packed.
Yeah,
So
I can understand that because I almost canceled today because here in Guatemala there was an annual summit. It's called the Volcano Innovation Summit. It's a powerful summit, and I thought I had submitted my application to attend, and I never got anything, so I thought I was out. But I was talking to a connection, somebody in my network, who was supposed to be a speaker at the summit. And he's the one that had told me, he's like, "You're in Guatemala." He's like, "You got to go to this Volcano Innovation Summit." He's like, "It's powerful. It's an amazing summit." He's like, "Let me see what I can do." He's like, "Maybe I can get you in. What day do you want to go?" I said, "Monday would be the best." He came back, he said the organizer, he talked directly to the organizer. They're full. They would love to have me, but they've got no space. They were maxed out, just like your Lahore, just packed.
and there are
Because
people.
because I believe this, Sarar. I think entrepreneurship is the way the world is going. Right. There was a book recently published called The Gig Economy. Right.
Say again.
The gig economy.
The gig economy.
Gig.
Yes,
Because
sir.
the old
Oh,
enjoy,
thank you.
as we say in Guatemala, provecho. Anyway, the old industrial system is dying, right? We've got to look at how might we advance business and economy for the future
Mhm.
with the advent of generative AI and other tools that have changed changed the landscape. And so the young people, these youth, right, those 18 to 20 somethings, or even the 20 to 40s who are still out there at a working age, things have to change, right? We can't keep doing it the same way. We can't be like BlackBerry.
No, we
You
can't.
know this. You know the story of BlackBerry, right?
A little bit.
Yeah. So
You,
the
you,
BlackBerry, they were booming, right?
yes.
Everybody had this keyboard enabled, and Apple brought out the first smartphone, and the leader of BlackBerry said nobody will use a virtual keyboard, like no way. And what do we all use today? Virtual keyboards. Everywhere in the world is using a smartphone with a virtual keyboard.
So many people first they were like called crazy. Why? Because when they launched people, that's why they say like when you run after the word, the word will go more behind. So they were like great leaders. I don't remember the names, but I'm sure you know them. That first when they were being mentally challenged. You know, when they told something to the word, but they said, "Ah, no, this person is retarded." They never believed in his idea, but then later they found out, nay, nay, he was the one. He was the change maker, and he was plenty
Well,
of
and I
examples.
I a, several months ago I did a master class with Audio Leadership Club on accountability and like building positive habits. Basically, the title was "Knock Out Your Excuses."
Oh yeah,
And so I was doing research on like the culture at Patagonia. It's revolutionary. They've had a lot of success because they're doing it differently. Or um, there was the story Microsoft was failing. They were dying. Like they were bleeding out. They were hemorrhaging on the surgery table. And a new leader came in, Satya Nadella, I think is his name.
Satya,
And Satya Nadella, he came in and he changed the questions basically. He's instead of the traditional questions, he came in and said he changed it from know everything. I'm looking for my notes because it's been so many months. Um, yeah,
thing
Patagonia. One of the things they did, they saw 300% faster growth because they let employees set targets and goals without requiring VP approval. And they saw a 94% completion rate of those goals versus an industry standard of 30.
without when they didn't ask the VP for the approval, they made more
Right.
progress.
They made much more progress because they could just set a goal to
Hmm.
advance the department, the mission, and do it.
Wow,
Satya Nadella took Microsoft from 300 billion to 2.5 trillion, just changing the question to does this align with our learn it all identity? So
corporate
instead of going,
psychology.
oh yeah, instead of that, oh yeah, I know, he's like, no, I don't know. Child mind, right? I don't know. Let's ask a
I'm still
question.
learning
What's the answer? I'm learning.
the corporate psychology.
Yeah. And I saw another presentation that was really powerful. I don't remember, I don't have all my notes handy, but she gave a whole presentation on how leadership in companies, in many, many companies today, is broken.
Leadership.
Leadership. Good one. Good one. Anyways, this has been wonderful. I do need to wrap it up because I've got another commitment. I thank you for coming on stage and sharing your heart, your wisdom.
Thank you very much.
I
It was
appreciate
grace,
you.
in gratitude, with grace, and may happiness and love for everyone. Thank you so much.
Yes. Blessings on you, sir. All right, everyone. Thank you, thank you, thank you for joining, for your comments. Whether you're here live or on replay, know you are appreciated. Um, yeah, I'm sure Martin would. And I was kind of surprised not to see him there. I need to repurpose it. Anyway, have an awesome week. Remember, shift your mind and you shift your life. Talk to you all next week.